Hi guys, Merry Christmas. I'm filming this from the gym parking lot before I go work out while my phone charges. Just wanted to show you my little Christmas lights in my car. Way to do something.
And guess what? I'm redesigning the gym logo.
Really? Oh, okay. Yeah, Canyon, he did some pretty cool, he did a Christmas card, he did 2 Christmas cards, and he's finally started and a Hanukkah card for my sister and friend. And then he's starting to finally use this art program that I got put on his tablet, so I'm happy about that. Anyway, I figured I was gonna make a little video. It's about the whole Charlie Kirk assassination, and so there's a couple of things I want to say. I met a girl here, and we became friends, and she's Christian, and we were talking, and then she told me about some guy, and he was like saying he got abused by dark forces, and so then he knows things that like regular people don't know. And I was like, that sounds familiar, but she said he was like, the masses don't know what is going on, only the few do. And that's what I'm seeing with this I think this is a schism in the church, but I think it's being deliberately stoked by Satan and whoever's mind controlling people who are already kind of not doing the right thing, maybe in some ways. Like anybody who still allows sin in their life is basically going to be a tool of the devil somehow. I've been kind of seeing this. It's kind of like when I'm around people, if a person will believe a lie, or you call it a sin or a vice, and if they would do things like that, I notice it and it hurts me, and I feel like that's the devil tries to do that to attack us. But anyway, that's why it's important. Like, you have to, Jesus said no one can serve 2 masters, and I understand it can be hard, especially when you first get saved. It took me a long time to quit smoking. That was like the hardest thing for me to do. But after I quit, I felt like some benevolent beings were like, hey, it's not your fault. You started when you were a kid. Your brain got wired that way. It's not easy to stop something that your brain is wired to do. So I try to have, I have compassion, but I don't like being at the receiving end of abuse either. So, which people think, who cares what you do? It's not affecting others. Well, yes, it is. This is what I'm saying. The masses don't know anything about what's really going on. And so I see a lot of people in the whole Candace Owens thing, which I believe a lot of it, some of it is gossip, but they're really quick to fall for these stories. And even with certain things with the government, even I see the way people react, and it's not the way I feel. And I feel like that's kind of just shows that they don't know what's going on, because they're like, this doesn't add up. And that's true, it doesn't quite add up, but they're drawing these conclusions which are not their deep spiritual root, because Satan or whoever is going to try to distract humans' mind so that blame's not on him, so that people will blame humans instead of knowing that the devil's behind it all. And anyway, I just thought when this turning point, I went to the memorial for Charlie Kirk, and I felt so overwhelmingly positive that it was like America's turning point, like we're bringing America back to God. That's what I felt in my heart. I heard an overwhelming amount of, government and officials like speaking about Jesus and about, values, American values and Christianity, and it was so uplifting and hopeful for me. And I know that's the spirit we have to keep and hold on to. I ended up giving these people a ride home. I drove down there because God told me to, and I didn't even have any money. I was like, all right, well, I'm spending my bill money on gas, I guess I have to go. But afterwards, I met these people that needed a ride. Their Uber canceled, and they ended up giving me all the money that I spent on the trip, because the Ubers were kind of high at that event. So and I was talking to them in the car. So I had 4 people, and I crammed them in my car with my dogs and my son. And you know, they were just saying, yeah, I'm going back to church or getting out my Bible. And it was like a big scent. I know, Cannon, that was a little weird, but the car was full. Anyway. So for me, that was my hope. And I don't want this to devolve into gossip. And I feel like that's an attack on us because it's really about fighting for what is right, standing for the truth, letting Christ be the model for your life, his teachings and his word, applying them. So, and actually standing for the truth as the people, because our country, it's we the people. So the people have to be, we have to work with God to have that dream. So because God gives us our freedom, and God created us, so like we following him is to fulfill our purpose and reason we were born, and our design, and to have, you know, a sane society where, you know, you're not gonna we don't have to have all the crimes and things, because the crimes are, I guess I'm getting a little ahead of myself because that's one of my dreams, because you know, how many people go around stealing or hurting people? If those people knew Jesus, they wouldn't have to steal. They're getting an idea on how to survive in this world, but they don't need to do that. They don't have to go hurt someone to get what they need. They just need a relationship with God and to learn to walk in faith, and that God can provide. And the same with all the sexual lies and the LGBT. None of that is fulfilling, and none of that is actually real. So anyway, I believe it's the whole Antichrist movement. From the more that I learn, I believe the whole LGBT train, actually not the LGBT at first, which is still, it's still wrong, but it's once it went trans, I feel like that's when it got really crazy. And so, you know, Charlie stood against that movement firmly, because he's talking about family values, and he's talking about, you know, there's a man and a woman, because this is just the truth. So, you know, standing for those values, and this is what I believe, it's an opportunity. And I know other people have been talking about this too. You know, I know we have free speech, and somebody said free speech allows the people that are doing evil to be identified, because you'll be able to see who's talking crazy about people and who's just spreading hate. And you got to use your sane common sense to realize that we can't fall into that. Don't follow that. And anyway, but it just really, it gets to me, because right after it happened, I had just, okay, there's like more of this story that I don't really want to tell right now, because I can only like talk so much at a time, and I'll try to share that in a different video. But I know, like, after I first found out about this, I just knew, I had a confirmation that like he was my brother in Christ, and that we had to like keep fighting. I was listening to that, and I just put on a few songs that I always put on when I go through a hard time. But one of them is A Mighty Fortress, but I like the new version. A Mighty Fortress is Our God. It was written by Martin Luther, but there's a new version. What is it, Matt Papa? I think that's his name. Or no, I forget his name. But it's a new version. And I listened to that. But anyway, it's one of the lines is, the body they may kill, but God's truth abideth still. So it was like, we're still going, like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so, but, and so it's so distracting when you talk about, like, who killed Charlie? Like, the fucking devil did, dude. The devil. It's not like, and then they're like, the devil knows that we're threatening his, like, reign of perversion, so he struck the kingdom of darkness. And so to like try to like stir up division and accusations. I have no idea. For me, it was never about that, and I don't even give Candace Owens the time of day because I don't trust her because of some other things I've been through. I just don't. I don't care. And also, she's against Israel, which is pretty dumb to me. Stupid. So anyway, that's number one right there. Well, there's two reasons. I also went through something when I was in her presence. I went and saw her speak, and this is what I'm saying. The masses don't know what's going on because only some people know what's behind the scenes in the spirit. Anyway, so yeah, I was like, this is the time that we all ride hard for God and we rally together in love, not to go attacking inside Turning Point, which I'm not even that involved, but I see that's what they're happening. They're talking about, let's bring up all this stuff about Turning Point. I wasn't really involved in Turning Point in the first place, but I've been to a rally once, and I don't feel bad about them. I don't know if I can't say that I'm 100% with them because I'm in my own flavor, style, my own unique personality. I am conservative, but I was more on the Kennedy Maha. I really love Nicole Shanahan. She was running for vice president, bringing up all the organic farming, gardening, soil, compost, a lot of that kind of stuff, like really crunchy, like more of that stuff. That's more like what I love. But I feel way more close to most conservatives, even though I don't necessarily have the same lifestyle or look, but still I feel like if you're a Christian and you believe in Jesus, you believe that abortion is wrong and that LGBT is wrong, that's a pretty good start of common ground. It's like, but anyway, that's why I feel that a lot of people are not wise enough because they're getting involved in this human drama instead of going hard for the Lord. That's what I want us to do. Seriously, 100%. So the more people talk crap, the more people talk, I would encourage everyone to go harder for Jesus because that's where the power is. We have so much individual power in our relationship with God. Jesus said that we will do greater things than him on this earth. But that's not when you get involved with the lost sheep. That's when you go stand with God and you get led. Because he said everybody is like a sheep that's led astray and needs a shepherd. Go be with the shepherd. Don't be a lost sheep. Anyway, and I hope that this helps. All right, peace.